can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Now, I found the ad for the South Australian policeman.
Right.
Hang on. Wayne thinks I've been had and that this is AI, and I found the ad, so I'm going to play it. You reckon this is I've been stitched up. You reckon this is a stitch up, do you?
Yeah.
Hang on. Oh no! I got on. Hang on, I got on silent. I've got on, so I'll start again. He's got shorts.
He's got shorts on. I was right, Sam. I said there's no way that they would be able to do that.
Anything in the comments?
Hang on.
Could not make this fucking shit
Oh,
up.
sorry about that. That's them.
Hi, I'm Grant Stevens, Commissioner for South Australia Police. We're recruiting internationally and I'm inviting you to apply. We've got a lot of competitive advantages, including a great salary, and we'll pay for the cost of permanent visas for you and your family. Not to mention, we've got this.
That's AI. That is complete. You know what? I was right. I said there's no possible way that could be passed.
I must say, I didn't see when the screen dropped down. He had shorts on. All right, so I'm sort of taking that back, but that's how easy it is to
be tricked. But that's why you can't believe everything you read or see online.
It shocked me when I saw he had shorts on.
Now, we don't go back on the standards that should be set for, we got into the topic about the standards. Maybe they should be higher. But in terms of that, I was spot on in saying there is no possible way they could advertise for overseas people to join the police and give them visas. So I was right again.
Yep.
A bit like the wind farms and the whales.
No, you went right on them.
The whales.
Not at all. The wind farms have been discredited internationally, globally.
Well, hey, by the way, Paul Marsh. Let's talk a little bit of footy. So Paul Marsh, the the CEO of the AFL Players Association, has stepped away. He's gone back to Cricket Australia.
Yep.
I'm led to believe. He sent everyone an email yesterday. I assume you get those emails, do you, Sam?
I do.
You know what? Unfortunately, the Players Association, for me, they've done they've done some good things, but they still, to me, don't defend the players if you want, Sam, and I know you'll bring this up, but the GWS players recently, they got suspended, and a number of other things. When players get themselves into, or whether it be the rules of the game or whatever situation, the Players Association don't defend their players like they should.
Yep.
All right. And I've called them before. I've called them toothless tigers. I've called them all sorts of things. I still think there's plenty of work to be done. You've just had your ankle done. Unfortunately, I still think their injury. And so basically what they do is they cover the gap for those who need operations, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, it's the same for whether you played one game or 300 games like yourself, which I think is a little bit out of whack, because it's fair to say after 300 you're probably going to have a few more injuries than if you play one.
Yes.
So there's plenty of work to be done. So I would love them to search far and wide for the next CEO. I hope they just don't grab someone from within like we do in other industries. In particular, the AFL have done. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in going out and trying to find, and then guess you wouldn't believe it, the candidate, the right candidate was right under their nose.
Yep.
They've wasted a stack of money, and I hope the Players Association don't do that, and they search far and wide for the next CEO of the AFL Players Association.
Well, they've been.
And well done, Paul, for the time you did do and the things you did get right.
Is this the AFL Players
Association
injury?
Hardship fund.
They've been good with me. I've given them.
But it's not that you're on. It's not that you're hardship. It's that you are entitled.
No, I've submitted the shoulder and ankle surgeries.
So you should.
And no, I have. I was told to do it. I thought, no, there's a duty of care when you play football. They said no, you must do that because there's a fund set up to look after people. And they've been very fair with me, although they knock you back on things that You're a bit bemused that they should knock you back about physio and getting remedial attention. They don't do any of that. They just purely cover the operations. But if that's in their charter, that's in their charter.
Excuse me, Sam. Hang on. Hello. Hi, I'm just on the podcast.
Oh, there we go.
So just ring the doorbell. Charlotte's
extraordinary. This is Wayne just dealing with the other side of Wayne's life.
That's just got to deal with
taking a couple of calls from just people.
Well, Charlotte's getting picked up by
of course
her mother.
She is, yeah, her mother, and she you want to go and get her in the people mover.
No.
I can push on here.
So no, just on going back over the injury. So yes. So they do look after the gap, but it should be preventative care, which is exactly where you were going. So physio, osteo, chiro, whatever you're into, alternative medicine, whatever you're into, they shouldn't want you to invariably get an operation. No. So if they spent a little bit, gave you an allowance, the ex-players gave them an allowance to get their injury right, then maybe they won't need that operation that invariably costs them and the health insurance a lot of money.
But like anything that people are giving out money for, there's always people trying to exploit the situation. It's a bit like I reckon there's 4,000 people to do with the AFL and playing football, not just necessarily at the top level, that have got onto this mental acuity thing from being knocked around playing football. They say it's starting to become rort-like. And
don't disagree.
And so people just trying to jump on the bandwagon. You have group class actions run by people who are just in it, the ambulance chasers. We won't mention who they are, but they're all the usual suspects.
No, well, you're right. And wherever there's, the only rort is the one that you're not involved in. But you're spot on, and that there'll always be people that take advantage of any situation, and especially when it comes to being handed out money, and that's where with a little bit of time and care and a little bit more understanding, I think that's where the Players Association can become a lot better.
I've become a devotee of watching the football because I've been a captive audience, because I've been confined really just to keep my leg up and watching. And I was over in Perth, watched all the games that came. How can you watch football on Channel 7? Every time they kick a goal, they go to a Bunnings ad or bloody... and you just lose the continuity of it all. And they come back and they show you the highlight of what you missed while you were watching the ad, and then they've missed the bounce for the next.
Well, you can't watch. By the way, you can't watch it on Channel 7 on a Saturday. You've got to have pay TV to even watch a game of footy on Saturday.
So anyhow, I've become a devotee of it. I tell you, Wayne, I don't like to talk down our great game. It is, and who says? I ask people at the functions I go to, I said, if you love the football, good on you. That's all that matters. The ratings are up by
Do they?
Wholeheartedly, they say it is shit.
Are the ratings up?
Ratings are up on football, aren't they? Watching?
I don't know about this
I don't know. Now that 7 don't do it on Saturday. I'm sure the crowds are up, aren't they?
I don't know about this year. I'm not sure the crowds are up. But I
watch it. It is a rolling scrum of dibbly-dabbly. I asked the people, I said, tell me now who would inspire you to get in your car, go to a game to watch a clash between Carey and Djakovic or Adelaide and bloody Chris Mew or so. Who would you go to the football to watch thinking, shit, this is going to be a good day? You'd be amazed at how many people can't. They say Toby Green. I said, fair enough, Toby Green's a good player.
Bontempelli or...
Yeah, but no one plays on him. And this is my next question, Wayne. Yep. I watch this.
He's not playing at the moment, by the way, the Bont.
No. What this is, I wrote this down to ask you because I watched how many times do the backman for a side drive the ball forward and the opposition mark at centre half forward without any contest, time and time again, where are the forwards? Where are the people who are meant to be designated forwards who lead away from those players who stand there and mark everything? It is extraordinary. And then people say, oh, don't bomb the ball down. Well, don't bomb the ball down, but kick it long to someone who's made a bit of a lead out. There might be a one-on-one contest like you and Djakovic used to have. Fantastic for the game. And not invariably, every backman has to be second guess what his forward's going to do. He can't just run out and attack the ball unless he sees where the forward's going, because the person up the ground might kick it to the forward, which he's meant to do.
Well, it's amazing. Even go back a couple of weeks ago when young Sam Darcy, by the way, another unbelievable game by young Sam Darcy, 21 disposals, 5 goals. That is 21 over 20 disposals and 5 goals in a game is very difficult to do as a key forward.
Yes, it is.
So that is a 50 possession midfield game with the midfielder also kicking a goal or two. That's how big a game that is for a key forward. And he had one of those on the weekend, albeit they lost the game. Yeah. But the reason why I bring it up, when they played Collingwood a couple of weeks ago, the captain of Collingwood, do you know who that is? No, used to be.
Oh, no, I don't.
Come on.
The captain of Collingwood.
Come on. It's got to be better than that.
The captain of Collingwood, yes. I don't know.
Come on. Centre half back, blonde.
Oh, yeah, but Darcy Moore.
Darcy Moore.
Yeah, sorry.
So Darcy Moore is playing on Sam Darcy, right? In the first half, Sam Darcy dominated. In the second half, Darcy Moore actually put a bit of time into him and actually in the end played a better game because he played on him one-on-one. There are times where you've got to play closer to your man and you can't just guard space, and that's the problem, which is I know that's what you're alluding to, and it just doesn't happen often enough. Jesse Hogan kicked 9 goals on the weekend. We're starting to get bags of goals again from a few key forwards, but it's the gap. Last year, the year before, we've had close years that we're fighting out for this year, it's like it's finally just fallen off a cliff.
It has. We've
got teams flogging other teams. We have got some big scores, which is great to see, but teams, North Melbourne, my old team, anyone that says that just because Alistair Clark, I'm going to bring this up. I've brought it up before, that Alistair Clarkson is a better coach than Ross Lyon are kidding themselves. Just because Alistair Clarkson has 4 premierships and Ross doesn't have any, he's been in 3 or 4 grand finals and up in time on in those grand finals. Ross Lyon right now is coaching as well as anyone in the competition. He is the best coach in the comp right now. Now, Chris Scott, I'm a massive fan of him. I still think he's a great coach. He got out-coached 2 weeks ago by Ross Lyon. Ross Lyon goes over to Adelaide, which hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them. They beat Port Adelaide. He is coaching as good as he's ever coached, Ross Lyon, with a team not full of stars, role players. He gets effort out of his team every week. Sick of people. People are starting to believe now. They're kicking score and this is without this is without some of their absolute stars. This is without their Steele in their King not playing in their team. I mean, remarkable effort, Ross Lyon. And North Melbourne, just when you think 2 weeks ago they've improved, they come out and get beaten by 10 goals by a team, by the way, not a team that played in the grand final last year. There was 6 or 7 or 8 different players in that team that played for Sydney, and they were insipid North Melbourne. And anyone any North Melbourne supporter that thinks I'm being harsh, it is just frustrating. I sat here I get asked the question every week about North Melbourne. How do you think? And 2 weeks ago I said, you know what, the penny might have dropped the game against Melbourne, but when you look at it now, Sam, and you say, well, when you look at Melbourne's form, you know what? They just beat up on a team that's going every bit as bad as they are at the moment. So have North Melbourne improved so far this year? You know what the simple answer is? Nope.
No, and it's the way the game's played, Wayne. It is no one takes the game on anymore. Carlton. Now, that is you talk about insipid. Did they play Collingwood last time?
Yep. Yes, Collingwood.
That is the worst. I watched that. My son barracks for halfway through. I didn't text you. I texted you the week before. Halfway through it, I said, "Are you watching this?"
Yeah.
They never attacked the ball. The forwards were always behind their men. They didn't bump anyone. They didn't run at anyone. It was absolutely disgraceful. Now, that's the fourth game they've... Surely, and now this is my question to you, Wayne, and I wrote this down last week but didn't get a chance. If you thought by doing something untoward in a game would change the course of the game, would you do it? Would you go out and belt someone, or not punch them, but would you actually run? They play with no fear at all, the players today, because they know no one's going to come from behind. No one's going to spoil them from behind, because if you graze someone's shoulder, the forwards will automatically get a free kick. It's almost impossible to watch our game. It's just degenerated into keeping soccer.
No, you can still attack the footy with velocity and ferocity. You can really, you can. There's no rule to say you can't, as long as your eyes are at the footy and you go at it hard, whether it be in the air or on the ground, and you're allowed to do that. The teams that do that consistently, and you look at the teams that are winning and the teams that are hard, and you look at GWS and Hawthorn, and you look at St Kilda at the moment, and they're the teams that are doing consistently. Adelaide and Gold Coast, the same thing. You looked at their game on the weekend. They attack the footy hard, whether it be in the air, whether it be on the ground, and the pressure that they put on. There are things in our game that you don't need skill for.
Absolutely. Are Cripps and Curnow, they're big forwards? Are they forwards?
No, Cripps is a midfielder.
Well, what's that mean?
Well, he's a midfielder. He plays in the middle of the ground.
Why wouldn't they put Cripps and Curnow across the half-forward line, and when someone gets the ball on the back line, instead of chipping it round and kicking it back towards the fullback, why wouldn't they have both those blokes run in different directions on the forward line, and someone in the same coloured jumper kick the ball to them?
Well,
Why wouldn't they do that?
Well, they've got a player. Mackay, who's playing in the VFL in the moment. No, but he was all right. Yeah, he's everyone's tiptoeing around what's going on in his life. I'm not sure. No one knows what it is, but he's playing VFL, but he's not playing AFL. So everyone's confused.
Got problems in his personal life.
I don't know, but how come you can play in the VFL, not the AFL?
Because his form's out. He's not form's not out.
No, it's not anything to do with form.
Isn't it? What is it to do with?
That's why everyone's confused, Sam.
I'm confused.
Well, I'm confused.
No, but what would be the reason?
Well,
that he's shouted at the coach, or hasn't turned up to training.
Sam, everyone's tiptoeing around the topic. But if you can go out and train, and you can play in the VFL,
yes,
and you're getting paid $900,000 or $1 million a year, I don't understand why you can't be playing AFL.
No, but I'm not.
I don't understand.
I'm not being deliberately.
I don't know why doesn't. This is where the transparency with, and I understand there are certain things that the players go through, and whatever they've got going on in their life, there's certain things that be kept private. But when you have a player that is doing certain things, but for whatever reason can't play AFL, be a bit more transparent. Let people know, or not. You don't have to let the media know, but just let your members know. You don't have to comment on it. You don't have to go on with it, but let your members know why this person that you're paying $1 zillion to can't go out and perform, and let you, when you're zipping 4. And you need Curnow and Cripps and Walsh and Wiedering and all of these guys need a hand.
So Wayne, I'm not being deliberately pressing.
I've got no idea.
But what do you think would be the idea?
I don't know, Sam.
Well, it's either personal problems. Well, if you've got personal problems, why are you playing at all?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
This is the club, the president or the coach has a bounden duty to say why this star player is not playing. And if it's not palatable for him to speak about his personal life, just say for personal reasons.
No, they have said that, Sam. But the problem is that when you're playing, when you actually can still play, but not at the highest level, that's the point. That's the confusing part. Anyway, gather round. Yeah, fan or not a fan? Do you like Adelaide?
Do I like Adelaide?
Yeah. Do you love Adelaide? Yeah. I love Adelaide. Adelaide's a beautiful city.
Well, you answer for me then, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I love Adelaide.
Adelaide. It's a good concept to bring people from each side of the continent into the middle, so the travelling is not a bugbear for all those people who play on each side of the continent every week, and it's fantastic for Adelaide. Is a gather round? I suppose it's a good concept. I don't know. It doesn't worry me.
You know what? It is highlighted what has always been a beautiful city, and become. It's just become a great city to visit. Adelaide Oval has changed the whole demographic of that city. It's not a big city, as we know, but you know the fact that you can go into the restaurants in and around the CBD, and then you can just walk across the bridge. You go to Adelaide Oval, watch the footy. You've got Norwood Oval, where they're going to have the beer. They're going to have the wine festival, food and wine festival there, which is right off the edge of the city. You got the Barossa, you got the Adelaide Hills, you got the beaches. It is. Adelaide has done it so well, and you wouldn't believe it. This weekend is going to be 28, 29, and 29, I think.
So in the space of 4 days, everyone plays each other, do they?
Yes.
2 games a day.
All around the
precinct.
State. Yes.
Oh,
no. Well, they're going to Barossa.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they're going.
You said there was
Adelaide
a
Hills.
footy show in the Barossa.
Yeah, they're
yesterday.
all doing their footy. All the footy shows are doing
gigs.
All the footy shows are doing their footy shows from different places in Adelaide and the Barossa.
How many shows?
There's more shows than a show factory. They're having a show to talk about this show.
Who's doing the shows?
Well, they're all doing the shows, but it is fascinating
Are you
stuff.
going over?
Isaac, by the way, Isaac Rankin, I love him as a player, but I just so happened I turned on the TV the other day and I went. It was Channel 7, Channel 7, and I was going through the 7 Plus or whatever, and the Australian Idol auditions were on. And I don't mind watching the auditions, so I was listening to a few of the auditions, and Kyle Sandilands is one of the judges, and you find yourself as a bit of an expert when you're sort of listening to see whether these people can sing, and you go, oh, geez, no, plain, no good. Isaac Rankin sang last night, and
on Idol.
I think no, on one of the footy shows.
Geez, you said you watching American Idol?
I was the day before, and then I heard Isaac Rankin sing last night. So what I'm saying is my musical brain was in tune for someone that had a good voice. And I don't know whether it was the sound system or not, but Isaac...
What did he sing?
I don't know, a song.
Well, what show?
I don't know which show.
Well, who introduced him?
I just saw the song. He was sitting on stage with a guitar, and I wouldn't have given him a vote. To go on in Australian Idol. He's a very good footballer.
And did you watch him finish the song?
I did.
And who came out and said, well done, mate?
I don't know. I didn't listen that far.
What station was it on?
I tuned off. He was out of tune.
Is Kyle Sandilands still on the radio here?
Yes.
Is he going well?
I don't know. I don't mind Kyle, actually.
No, I don't mind Kyle. I was just asking the question.
Get him on here.
I would love to get
Kyle on here. He's very good.
You got his number?
Like Kyle.
The phrase look after you was the song.
This is Sue. Speak into the microphone.
The phrase look after you.
Speak into that microphone.
And
hang on. I'll turn it on.
And what? Please tell me they're not saying he's Elvis Presley.
Footy show.
Sue, we can't
Footy
hear
Classified? Was it Footy Classified?
Sue.
Might have been Eddie's. What it might have been one of Eddie's shows. Footy Classified. Or one of the Footy Classifieds. There's 18 Footy Classifieds.
And he sang, what is the song, Sue?
I just got over it.
Anyway, Isaac Rankin is a star. He's under an injury cloud this week. Look after you.
Isaac Rankin sang that.
Look after you. But I'm just saying, maybe just the sound system wasn't great, but I didn't think it was a great rendition.
What other footy shows are on?
Was it a great rendition of it?
So what other footy shows are coming up? What is today, Wednesday?
There's a footy show. There'll be a footy show tonight. There'll be a footy show. There'll be pre-game shows Thursday. There'll be was Eddie's show? Yeah, I thought so. Eddie gets, But if any of those guys said well done to that rendition of whatever the song was.
You haven't got him singing it, have you?
We can't put it on there. Anyway, I just thought it wasn't.
No, we can't.
I just a little out of tune.
We can't put it on because we have to pay copyright.
Fair enough. But I don't know how we got on to... Oh, Gather Round, that's right. So
that's good, is it?
Yeah.
And are you going over to speak?
I'm going over there for
You are?
business purposes, nothing to do with football.
Oh, no.
I just happen to be over there.
What do you do? Well, you could go. They might have some wine tasting of some nice rosés.
Well, they might have. You know what? I might pop my little beak into
a rosé
on Friday. Given that it's given the weather's going to be very.
You could strip down into a wife beater.
It's one of those. It's one of those little. It's one of those little things where you just, the sun's out, the birds are chirping.
You could walk around in the wife beater and shorts.
You smell the clippings off the lawn, and you just pray.
Clippings off.
You just pray you're playing on a. I won't say which player. No, so it is. It is going to be beautiful weather, so I'll just have a tight fitted shirt on, Sam, a pair of tight shorts.
Yeah, I'll have the open neck trousers.
Open neck trousers. No, I'll have them closed.
Yeah, you have them closed. You won't be advertising.
And the rosé, I dare say there'd be a couple of nice rosés from the Adelaide Hills. I might have a nice rosé.
Why aren't you speaking at a function
on the Friday?
You could ask the North Beach. You could ask the equivalent of the North Beach Football Club if you'd like to entertain the people there, because I've heard you speak. You're very entertaining.
I am going over there.
You can keep yourself sober.
Yes. Well, the problem is when you go to these cities, you have a function after a function after a function. I have made the mistake before where you, if you don't book too many functions in the one day.
Yeah, I think I saw you on your third function for the day somewhere. It was fantastic. They said, "What's he talking about?" I said, "I know him well. I can interpret. I know what he's trying to say, but he's got the verbs and the nouns mixed up in the wrong order."
You know what's funny though, that you know, if there's someone like Billy, for instance, Billy, or use Billy as an example. Another mate of mine. I won't say his name. Yeah, I will. Sholey. I've got other mates. They can go somewhere and they can do whatever they want. You know what people do? They go.
They love him.
Isn't he funny? Right. Isn't he funny? He's absolutely wasted. Isn't he? How funny is he? You know, look at him over there being a nitwit. Oh, look at he's doing that. You know what? You go there, if you know, you or I go there and you've had a couple too many rosés. Oh, geez. Geez, Duck was
look at that cock smack.
Duck was a little
I've seen the
oh
Duck.
Boy. But it's you know what some get away with, others don't, is what I'm trying to say. I get away with nothing.
No, but because you're very humorous, but you get boisterous and loud, you frighten the shit out of people because if they say, "Oh, I don't agree with that," "Oh, you don't agree with me, don't you?" Well, you go 'em.
Okay.
No, in a nice way, but they misunderstand
you.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
me, I've cowered back into the fucking back curtain when I've actually said something to you and you say, "Oh, you know about it."
No, so anyway, I'll go. I've got a work thing on Thursday, and then I reckon I'll be popping my head into the Norwood Food and Wine Festival for a rosé.
You might be asked to go to the various enclosures and just have a word about football.
I've been invited to numerous things over there, and I've deliberately said no for that reason. I'm going to be there for a few days. I want to relax.
Taking the bride with you?
I want to take the atmosphere of what will be a magnificent week. I'm packing just shorts and tightly fitted shirts.
Jesus,
what
could go wrong?
Maybe a pair of chinos. But...
And some Veet.
That's it.
Some Veet.
Yes. No. I'll Veet up before I head over.
On the off chance someone gets a chance to look at the plums.
No. It's just.
Will you be taking any one of the any?
No. I'm going over there for work. So no, the family's all heading away to a
packed them into the people
park.
Mover.
Yes.
Packed them into the people mover.
Going to a caravan park.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you actually speak at a couple of the functions?
I am. I will be speaking at one.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
I said you said you weren't. You were just...
Yes, but I'm not the main act, so to speak. I'm there to it's work purposes as well as not. It's not a football theme, is what I'm trying to say.
What is it?
No.
What is a wine tasting convention?
I hope they do have a nice rosé there.
What is it? What are you going over for then?
Yeah,
business.
Yes.
What fucking business?
Yes, I'm going over there for business. We'll speak about the business I'm going over there for at some stage on here. All right?
Well, so I'm going to ask you this. This is how much I concentrate in the football. I noticed a boy called Darcy Jones.
Darcy Jones.
Darcy Jones.
Yeah, plays for Port Adelaide.
No, Greater West Sydney, doesn't he?
Oh, sorry, little Darcy. Yes, got a little helmet on.
Why, if the league, AFL, is so worried about head injuries, why isn't it mandatory?
Because helmets don't prevent concussion.
Why is he wearing it?
That's a good question. They don't do anything.
How do you know?
I've spoken to enough people.
So if you're going for a mark and someone smacks you in the back of the head,
it'll prevent you from getting a cut head or whatever. But the concussions caused from whiplash, from jarring of the brain and the shaking of a brain. Not. So the helmets don't do bugger. Ask Angus Brayshaw what a helmet does.
So it's just a placebo thing, is it?
It can be a confidence thing. For some players, it's a bit like strapping your ankles up or strapping your shoulders up.
No, it's not. Strapping your ankles up stops you going over on them.
But it's a confidence thing. If you've worn one through junior footy, so Caleb... surface cuts. Caleb Daniels has worn one. Cherry from North Melbourne. They're the three that wear them that I know of. But the simple facts are, if you speak to people around concussion, they say that helmets don't do a lot. So, if anything,
as we get into the fifth round, if you don't count the first round that wasn't around,
it wasn't around because no one played in it.
Where have we got to? The sides that beat the game is how the commentators watch and they say the games are shocking.
GWS,
they're exciting because they're close, but the football's crap.
GWS and Hawthorn are the two teams that I think they're the two absolute standouts at this point. Excuse me. Adelaide are much improved. I will say this, two teams that never played finals last year will play finals this year.
I heard someone say that...
Gold Coast Suns will play finals this year.
I heard someone say that the Gold Coast Suns might get into the grand final, but their lack of finals experience will see them out.
I'm not sure they'll get into the grand final, but I think for the first time...
finals experience to be able to play football in the finals.
They're playing a good brand of footy. They've got all the elements that you need. They've got key forward. They've got key defenders. They've got an unbelievable midfield. They've got all the ingredients now that will for them to play finals footy. And if they don't play finals footy, it will be the big failure of the year.
The Suns?
They have tapped on the door for the last couple. Who's the coach? Damien Hardwick.
Hardwick.
Stewie used to be the coach.
That's right. And Damien said he's
Hardwick
finished with football forever and he's not doing it. He needs to spend time with the family. And suddenly...
Yes.
Now, Wayne, one of the great generic misnomers, it's just hot air. People say, why do you need to have played in the finals to say that you can't play finals football because you haven't had finals experience? What is that nonsense?
Well,
playing in front of why is it?
Well, it is. Well,
what, you run out in front of 90,000 people?
For Gold Coast to be on the MCG,
yes,
when considering the Gold Coast can't win away from home. They beat Melbourne this year. Once again, as I said, that form's not looking like a great win anyway.
No.
But they've only got the one game. That's the only game they have on the MCG, and they've already played it.
And
so if they are to play finals,
yes, and
I can guarantee you they won't get a home. Surely they're not playing a home final at Gold Coast. But anyway, because Geelong don't get them, but
Geelong
when they come to the MCG, because they will play finals. They will play finals this year.
Geelong played the Fremantle Dockers and got beaten.
They come to the MCG and they're playing who
another side that doesn't play in the MCG.
No, well, right at the moment, so they're playing Hawthorn at the MCG in a final. Gold Coast, right? And it's going to be predominantly Hawthorn supporters, although Gold Coast might get some neutrals wanting them to do well in front of, say, 70,000 at the MCG, of which they've never done before. So the Gold Coast players, other than those who have gone from other clubs to Gold Coast, would be the first time, and they're playing on a ground that they never get to play on, I dare say that they would not handle that as well as what
finals experience.
Well, that's with someone like them.
Well, so
if it's another club, that
doesn't play in the MCG,
that doesn't play. No, if it's another club that
doesn't play in the MCG a lot,
doesn't. Well, I can. The history's there. I mean, you only have to look at Brisbane Lions, who lost the grand final to Collingwood by less than a kick, and they're playing Collingwood on their home ground in a grand final. You talk about
as opposed to the 4 grand finals they won in a row.
Disadvantage.
As opposed to the 4 grand finals the Brisbane Lions won in a row on the MCG.
Yeah, correct. I'm not talking about the Brisbane Lions of back then. Talking about the Brisbane Lions that lost to Collingwood a couple of years ago. Collingwood that year played 13 or 14 games on, and I think Brisbane had played 3.
So they lost by a kick, and that's because they hadn't played on the ground for a long time.
Well, it's not their home ground. But do you reckon if they played Collingwood, if they'd played Collingwood at the Gabba, do you think Collingwood would have won that grand final or Brisbane? I reckon Brisbane would have.
Yeah, so I reckon they would, but that's just that. I've watched the Fremantle Dockers go and play Geelong in a preliminary final down at Cardinia Park, and they got beat Geelong.
They've all done. They've all done it before.
So that's my point, Wayne. It is absolute nonsense to say because you play in front of 90,000 people and you've never played on a ground before. Kick the ball to someone in the same coloured jumper and keep it off the other people and kick it to the forwards. The rest will take care of itself.
I concur with what you're saying, and I agree. Unfortunately, the Gold Coast will play finals this year, but they can't win it because they haven't proven to anyone yet that they can actually win away from home.
What about the Swans? Came down and played in the grand final. They played in grand final last year.
Well, they flogged North Melbourne last week, so they're back.
And that's exactly right. They say they're back. Who did they play? This is the whole thing is a contrived. It is honestly, it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, anyway, GWS, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, and Adelaide.
GWS.
Adelaide are playing
Gold Coast.
Now it's a footy's a marathon, not a sprint. But if you're to go off form right now, those 4 teams for me.
So who are the Gold Coast playing in the gather round?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it.
Oh, no, what? Brisbane?
North Melbourne.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. At the Barossa. So you know what? The only chance North Melbourne have got in that game is if all the Gold Coast players go and get on the wine the night before.
I reckon. The plane gets grounded.
I reckon if they go and just have a nice henchke, right. So if they have a nice cask of henchke each.
Have they lost a game yet, the Gold Coast?
No.
So they go 5-0?
Yep.
Just absolutely will. If you're ever going to have a bet in football, bet responsibly.
Yeah.
Put your house on the Gold Coast.
They do struggle away with.
Because they never played there before.
Neither of North Melbourne.
Well, there you are.
But that doesn't mean Jack. Gold Coast are playing very well, but I think they'll get the job done. They might get on the wine.
That's the greatest excuse for. Never had final experience. We've got 12 players in our side who've never played in a final. What has that got to do with anything?
No, Sam.
But do they trot up the tired old journalists who got nothing, have no idea, no.
When it comes to the Gold Coast, given their history, they've never played finals, but their whole club has never played finals ever in the history of their club.
Well, that should make them odds-on favourites then, because they'll be up and about.
You should think so. But
an adrenaline rush.
It's going to be a very
firm. The
Cats, by the way, the Cats play.
No, I don't.
The Cats play Adelaide.
Yep.
On Thursday night, so that'll be a rip snorter. And Port Adelaide, I don't know whether you know this, but Port Adelaide play Hawthorn. And last year, remember Ken Hinkley did the aeroplane to Ginnivan?
How can you?
So there'll be a lot of feeling in that.
How can you take an act like that and blow it into the?
He got a massive fine for that.
I got 20 grand. This is my point. How could a coach going like that to someone? It's honestly There's been some other coaches do stuff that I would say more demonstrative than that, and because that wasn't demonstrative, it was just immature. It's just immature. Whereas what's immature about
it's just an immature moment. But
Why?
I love Ken Hinkley. But
why is that immature to go
other coaches
to an opposition?
You just
take the piss.
You just don't see coaches making out there a paper aeroplane every day of the week.
Well, they're footballers. They're ex-footballers.
Anyway,
like you
he didn't deserve $20,000 fine. He should deserve nothing in actual fact. That was blown out of all proportion, but that's what footy shows do. And then you've had other coaches do things since, and guess what they get? Absolutely nothing. He got robbed, Ken Hinkley. Absolutely robbed.
He
Well, I
wouldn't
hope
have
he
paid it,
didn't
would
pay
he?
it. Well,
The man that does the ads with the meerkats, is he still the president?
Yeah, Koshi.
Koshi. He does ads with meerkats for his insurance
Yes,
company.
he does.
How's he going? He's
I don't
gone
know.
off the Today Show. Now he speaks to meerkats.
I like the meerkat ads.
Do you know the
So is that
worst?
enough
I
footy?
don't know if you ever. I might make a civil arrest or if you ever watch that ad where there's a bloke sits with a bulldog and they look at a little squeaky duck in a washing machine, and the bulldog, someone takes off the bulldog's voice, and he said, "Oh, whatever the dog's name," he says, "Oh, the washing machine's broken," and the bloke who's taking off the dog says, "Oh, squeaky, bad squeak." Have you ever seen that? That is...
I hope it's better than that.
It's no better than that. That is the most puerile... Whatever advertising agency put that on, they should wind their company up. That is the most puerile, stupid ad. So stupid I can't even remember what the company is for. But the dog says, "Oh, squeaky."
I tell you what, I have had a bit of feedback.
Squeaky.
I tell you what, I have had a bit of feedback about. I've never seen so many people walking around with crispy whites on. Since I gave the tip about soaking.
I tell you,
Soak.
Wayne,
Nappy Sam.
you think I think I'm pulling me, just stroking myself. The number of people who say they listen to this. And a shout out to the North Beach Football Club in Perth, who couldn't have the benefit of me just telling them how life goes, and the pathetic, weak people up at the top office saying, "Oh, gee whiz, get a life, you dumb bastards." Seriously. And I just looked there. Taken a nice belting in the paper for
Again.
I didn't know this until we did the break, for interviewing the man who got the conspiracy theory
theories.
about, and it said, "I'm..."
Oh, you agree with the
Yeah, it
conspiracy?
says, "I'm..." Shit.
You can't, but don't.
It's extraordinary. Anyhow, it's good.
Yes.
Probably
Well,
wouldn't have it any other way.
we might have a bit to talk about next week when I get back from
we will.
Adelaide.
Wayne, any other final announcements? The Trump tariffs, how do you reckon they're going?
Oh, geez, the stock market's going well, isn't it? The Australian dollar's flying. Yeah, the world's...
Well, when was the Australian dollar flying ever?
Well, it wasn't flying. Well, it was probably...
It goes from 62 to 64 cents, eh? Oh, 2000 and something.
No,
Trump is the best.
Would you agree that things aren't exactly haven't responded well to this point? Would you agree with that, since he's put the tariffs on?
Because he's put the fear of God into anyone who does business with the United States.
So everyone's
Go on.
Everyone's retirement funds have just dropped by 10% and 15%.
On paper, temporarily.
Okay. So you believe that it'll come back, Sam?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What do you think? The people who sell goods, cars, clothing, manufacturing goods, you think the people who deal with North America, that is the United States, are going to just ignore that market and let Trump suffer? They have no other market, those people who make all those products. America is their market. They're the only economy and the only people in it who can buy their products, and they will come. You watch, they will come round. He is the most extraordinary politician or businessman. You watch. He's never been proven wrong yet. He's won overwhelming majority of that country voted him in.
We'll finish on that note, and I'll go and wax up.